eve of the legal tampering period, which starts here in about 68 hours, a little under. A lot going on. We've not done a stage since the combine has ended. So we'll talk a little post-combine rookie draft shifts. Ray, there's been a lot of talk in the Discord this week about the value of some of those later firsts has started to come back. Maybe not the sheer value, but people are just a little more interested in some of those players that they might be able to get. And then certainly we'll talk some free agency and really some football stuff. This is the best time of year for just football stuff. Every team in the NFL's got shit to do.
I agree.
Cuts, trades, restructures, a lot of stuff to do because it's a new season for everybody. Teams are probably working harder this next week or two than they do all year almost. Even during the draft, because once you get to the draft, it's like that's the only thing left. But this week, like you got to start really building the plan for your team. So welcome in. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, man. Appreciate you. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done this. As you know, and some of you guys in the Discord, I had some family members pass on back to back. So we had multiple funerals last week, and just the lead up to that, there's just been a lot going on. So there have been some things that we had to pull back on, but we're back on schedule. We're here. We're rolling now. And we also have some new people who should be joining the Discord. So Brandon put something in the chat, free people. There's a free membership now. I'm going to tell you right now, if anybody that is in here on a regular basis, you need to keep what you got. The free tier, they get access to the community chat. They can listen to stages, but they can't text in the stage channel. They have no ability to submit their team for roster rescue. You can't put trades in the trade channel. It's pretty much just the community chat, just to get some new people in here, see what we're doing, get to listen to what Scott and I are doing. And if they like it, they will have to join like everybody else, because you really can't do much of anything besides look, listen, and engage in the community chat. But for those of y'all who are here, because once we put that out, I think we had like 14 people join that free tier. Welcome in. I know you can't say anything in the chat, but shout out to y'all. Engage with the good people in the community, and highly encourage you to get in community, Scott, because I want to say this, dude. I really want to talk to the people in here and you about something that we've discussed offline, and it is the space in its community. And I think that's why I really want to focus on that personally inside of this Discord this year. There was a point in time, man, where this thing was close to 1,000 strong in here of people, right? And some of it split between the website and the Discord. But where we are today in sports, Scott, everybody's going to have data, dude. Like a few years ago, you couldn't find all 22. You had to be like a wizard to get all 22 film. Hell, even last year, people couldn't get route data. It was like Matt Harmon and that's it, right? Matt Harmon, that's it, route data. Now, dude, everything is available. You can get whatever stat, yards per route run, whatever you want, you can find it. And with this sort of new age of AI, generative AI, it's only going to continue to increase. But the one thing that will never be able to replicate, Scott, is the engagement of a community. People who have like minds, people who love this game, people who love the sport. Like, this is where the evolution of fantasy sports is going to come back to community. Because I can give you all the data. Scott, right now, I can give you all the ingredients to make a gumbo. You couldn't do it, could you? You could not do it, could you? If I gave you the ingredients, you think you could do it? Think you could do it?
Cook, Ray. Decent cook. But probably, you know what? I could put the ingredients together, but would it have the same pizzazz that
just like I can't make no beef Wellington. I know what it looks like, but I can't make beef Wellington. You can give me all the ingredients, I can't do it, right? It's the application of the information. And that's really what Scott, Shane, Brandon, myself want to do more of this year, is really talking through the why, the application of things, and get other people to have those same type of conversations. Scott, it's a very interesting time in the fantasy football, NFL, data information space. I don't know if anybody else feels that out there as consumers of content, but I can tell you right now, as somebody who produces content, makes it, Like, I can see the shift happening right now, Scott.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's hitting probably a lot of industries for people that are even in here that have day jobs, that have careers, that have been doing things a certain way for a long time. You've seen how fast it's evolved, even in the last 6 months to a year. Probably everybody in this chat has been impacted in one way or another with things becoming automated, things becoming replaceable. But there still comes back to once you have it, maybe it was hard to get it before, now you have it.
Right.
How do I use it? How does it apply to what I already have? How can I do some analysis, or how can I take this and put it into action? Because a lot of times, and we were talking about this just recently, that there's so much ease in creating stuff now that a lot of times the backbone that goes into it isn't always known by the person that's creating it. They just know what it is. They don't necessarily know how to explain it or how to use it or how to take it and apply it to something else. So hopefully that's something that we can bring with this community. And some of the content's probably going to change too. It's going to focus a lot more on personalization and community and how to take some of the stuff that we have and make it even more actionable. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited for this next 6-month stretch before we get to the season, because we know the season is a different game. And by the time we get to next offseason, who knows? Can you even imagine where the space is going to be next January?
Man.
Everybody gets a fresh start on draft season, Senior Bowl, Combine. It will be a whole new iteration of how to bring things to the table even 10 months from now. Largely, if you're not in it right now, it's too late for this year's draft, for this year's free agency, off season, etc. But I bet you there's people watching right now going, man, imagine if I have this ready for that 27 class.
Oh, yeah, for that big class.
And I'm ready for it to be January 1st.
And I'm released.
So you got to keep up.
Yep, got to keep up. But to answer your question, Scott, you know why this is such an exciting time, this free agency? Free agency in itself is exciting, but you know what it is in particular about this year that makes it so exciting? It all correlates, Scott. It all correlates together.
What you got?
We've talked about it all year. We've talked about it, at least in this community, all year. Jay Rich and I talk about it. We know the NFL draft class at the QB position is weak. And we've been talking about it all year, that there are going to be multiple teams in need of quarterbacks. And there are probably going to be a lot of old veteran QBs get shots again. And where are we at right now? You look around, Kyler Murray available. Tua's going to get cut. Geno Smith just cut. Daniel Jones hurt, but about to command the bag. They're going to let Alec Pierce walk, because you look around the league and the only viable option really is Fernando Mendoza from the rookie pool. Yes, Ty Simpson probably will go round 1, but I'm not going to expect him to start right away. But it goes back to the fact that it was very clearly, it was very easy to read that we were going to get another season of retread veteran quarterbacks. And we talked about it in the Heisman channel. I think one of the biggest booms in Dynasty right now, man, is if you did get Matthew Stafford cheap last year, right? Going into the season when he was going to fall apart and retire because his back was done. He wins MVP, says, I'm coming back. You probably got 2 more years of Matthew Stafford. And if they keep the same type of offense that they had last year, he produced very, very, very good fantasy results for you at a position you didn't have to pay much for. So you look around right now, you got one spot that's going to get occupied by a rookie out the gate. That's Las Vegas. Other than that, it's going to be veterans starting. Which ones, I can't tell you, but it's going to be somebody that's already been in the NFL more than likely. And that's what makes this year, this free agency cycle, so attractive. And there are some incumbent starters that they don't even feel like they've got a firm grasp on the job. Michael Penix in Atlanta, J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota. So much stuff can change this year at the quarterback position in anticipation for what's going to come at the quarterback spot in 2027 by way of prospects.
Yeah, and it's not just the weak rookie class. It's a weak quarterback class last year as well. There was only 2 guys drafted in the first. You had a record number of quarterbacks start a game this past year. You had a couple quarterbacks that made huge money, basically getting jettisoned by their teams and cut, in terms of Kyler in terms of Tua. Geno Smith still had a little bit left. He's getting cut.
Yep.
And then you also had a quarterback that came from this range, won the damn Super Bowl. So it's like this perfect storm of all these things coming together. You know, NFL GMs are, sure, some guys run their own ship and they do things how they think is best, but there's also a lot of, well, that worked for the Seahawks.
Absolutely.
Maybe we'll take a shot at it. And so
Absolutely.
you have this weird culmination of all these things happening at once. You have these QBs that, because of the offset language in their contract, Ray, there's no reason for Kyler to play for more than $1.3 million. He doesn't earn any more money by signing for $5 million. It goes away from what Arizona owes him. So this is going to be an offseason where if you want to find, and I think we have this conversation, and people get way ahead of themselves, right? You're not going after Kyler Murray for him to be the 6th best quarterback in the NFL. That's not the expectation.
Right.
The expectation is he's league average. He runs your offense.
He's better than the guy. He's better than the guy ahead of him. He's better than the guy ahead of him.
You did it at a cheap cost, a cost that isn't typically ever available. If you want to go try to get the 18th best quarterback on the open market, you don't pay league minimum to get that. First of all, we don't ever hardly see that hit the open market. Right? Like you don't see, who would you say right now is like the 18th best QB in the league, 20th best QB in the league right now? Bryce Young probably, I don't even know if Bryce Young's top 20, but let's just say Bryce Young is the example, okay?
Yeah.
Let's say Bryce Young got cut today. How much would he go for? Open market. Just any team could have him. There's no strings attached. How much would he command? More than Malik Willis, you think?
I don't know.
20?
25, 30, tops 30. Because that's just going right.
Top 10 backups go for about $5 to $8 million. The Mariotas, the Brissetts, the Flaccos, they get paid like $5 to $8 million. So how much would Bryce Young go for?
Well, he's coming in to be the starter, right? He's not going. He's coming in to be the starter. $30 million.
Every team can get him. Okay.
30.
And you're telling me Kyler Murray's available for 1. Geno Smith, 1. And these guys might not even start. I don't think Geno and Tua are guaranteed shit. But the opportunity to bring him in your room, coming off a year where you don't have a fix in the draft, and coming off a year where 3 years ago, Sam Darnold, remember when Sam Darnold went to the Panthers?
Yep.
No one thought he would ever be back in a spot where he is a locked-in, guaranteed money, big contract quarterback. And here we are. So it's really the opportunity cost of, if a team is smart, they have a chance to take a shot this year at something that's not going to come available every year. Because you know what I think is going to happen, Ray? We don't have a lot of QBs down the pike that are going to get massive contracts. I'm still wary on if, let's say CJ Stroud, Bo Nix. I don't know if these guys get $60 million a year, $65 million a year. Maybe Nix is like the line. But I think
why not? Tell me what it is about. And I'm using Nix as the example. He led his team to playoffs back-to-back years, rookie year, second year. Why would he not?
He's probably the line. Stroud and him are probably the line. But think about how much you have to do to get to just, people will go, Stroud and Nix, they're not that good. Yeah, but you know what? Both of them have gone to the playoffs multiple times. Both have won playoff games. Like, those are guys where you'd say they've checked almost all of the boxes to earn an extension. But you would have said the same thing about Tua or Kyler. They didn't win the playoff games, but, I think the teams are going to be a little more hesitant to just say they have their guy and they're going to pay him at the top of the market. I think that will change a little bit. So I just wanted to bring that up because that's the thing that makes this year fascinating, is all these things happening at one time. Hell, with next year's QB class, it could be completely different.
Well, the thing is, the quarterback market itself is what have you done for me lately, right? That's just what it is, because I could say the same thing about Baker Mayfield. You got people now questioning, is Baker Mayfield the guy? And everybody said he was a top 5 quarterback after last season. I mean, it's the ability to stay at the tip top of that position, I think, is much more difficult than the regular fan just knows. Like, we take, You take Allen and Lamar or Tom, you take those type of statistical marvels every year for granted. And it's just hard to accomplish that. They need scheme, they need coordinator, they need weapons. I mean, that's just football, dude. Like the thing that I've talked about since I started creating content is the game that you play is a proxy for a real sport. Like fantasy football doesn't drive the NFL. So just because they're not efficient, right? That doesn't mean that a team isn't going to continue to rely upon them if they do other things to help. You can't. Nobody believes Jalen Hurts is the best damn quarterback in the world, but nobody was bitching and complaining when he won a Super Bowl 2 years ago, right? And for then it worked. We'll see if we'll get it back on track. But no, he's not Tom Brady. No, he's not Peyton Manning or Aaron Rodgers. So this idea that they're not going to get paid, I don't know, man. Like maybe Bryce because he's a limited little quarterback. But let me tell you this. If he goes out there and takes the Panthers to the playoffs again next year, you bet your bottom dollar he will. It doesn't matter how much you dislike him or not. He's going to get paid. Goddamn, Malik Willis is about to get paid. And coming into the season, nobody would have had him at the top of a free agency list. Not a soul. And now people are saying it's the number one free. The expectation at the QB position on both sides is not in its right lane. The energy bus ain't right. Like there are only a select few of true BAM tier, hammer, floor-raising Mack truck quarterbacks. Outside of that, man, how much would you pay Jared Goff? I bet you would be like, man, I wouldn't want to pay Goff that much, but who's going to operate the offense like Goff?
Here's what you brought up that's interesting, though. Malik Willis is going to get paid. Let's say he gets, what's the word, 25 mil? Something like that. Let's say he gets 25 million. That's nothing. The top of the market's about to be 65 when Lamar hits this extension. 25's nothing. 4 years ago, 25's like 8 million.
Yeah.
So Malik Willis is going to get paid, and I think people are surprised that, like, oh, it's Malik Willis, and he came from nothing. But you know what? If a team gets Malik Willis right, he's making 25 million. That's nothing compared to the team paying Jordan Love 55. Trevor Lawrence 55. You know what I mean? So unless those guys are just miles better, there's going to be teams that already paid their QBs that are in worse shape than Malik Willis if he's the 15th best quarterback in the league. And I know that's probably a higher end outcome for him. But I do think his contract will only perpetuate this a little bit. If a team gets Malik Willis and he's an average starter, I think more teams are going to be looking for that type of QB deal. Not the $1 million that you're going to get Kyler for, but the, hey, maybe, and we haven't seen a team do it yet. That's why I think this next round of QB contracts is right. Now, just hear me out. Hear me out. Because we know the rule. When Bo Nix hits free agency, if he goes to the playoffs again, he's going, who's at the top of the market? That's my contract. 60 mil. I'm the fourth highest paid contract in the league at QB, even if I'm not the fourth best.
Yeah, but
QB.
stick with Willis. Go down to Willis. Don't go to Nix. Stay with Willis.
Why I'm interested in the Willis deal is because if that goes right, and even more so if we see one of these guys like Kyler or Tua get rehabbed and they do it on a super cheap deal, I do think there are going to be teams. There's going to have to be a team that does it first, that puts the line in the sand.
Okay, let me just the flaw in this analysis though, Scott, is you're acting like Willis went from starter to bench to starter. There was a lot of shit that happened in between. You can't look for. How do you look for the next Willis? Nobody was looking.
It's not the next Willis. It's when Bryce Young goes, there's a line. It's 30 mil. We're not going over it. We're not going above it. We're not setting the precedent of, well, he was a first rounder and he should have been this. There's going to be a team in the next couple of years that has a franchise QB that they go, we don't think you're a top 10 QB and you're not hitting the market, but we're also not paying.
Yeah, but what is that? What is the
anything.
Impact if you're just saying a team over the next X number of years does that? Like what?
Because we've never seen it before. We haven't seen one team draft a guy that was given the reins and was the guy, and they said, you know what? We're not paying you at the top of the market. You're not good enough. Even with all the accolades. Like, we're not stepping into that hole.
We haven't seen a team draft a top quarterback and not pay him?
What I'm talking about is the C.J. Stroud or Bo Nix when a team hits on that guy and he's the 11th best QB and that team says, no, we're not paying you like a top 5 QB. We're going to let you go. There's going to be a team that does that. It's probably not going to be those guys because they're a
But
tier
those guys,
above.
but they weren't the 11th best quarterback at the time that it was time for him to get paid. Like that I hear you, but if Stroud's deal is coming up next year, we're talking about him being outside the top 20. So he's not the 11th best quarterback right now. He wasn't even a top 25 quarterback over the past 2 years.
Point. If Stroud has a decent bounce back year next year, his contract is I'm above Love, I'm above T-Law, I'm better than all those guys because I'm ready to get paid. And there's going to be a team that has that guy in-house.
Mm-hmm.
That has a top 15 QB that's coming up to get paid like a top 5 guy because that's how the market works. And they say, no, nada. We're going to play hardball, and we may even just let you go. We haven't seen it yet because every time one of those guys has come up, they get paid. Because the team does exactly what you talked about earlier this week in voice chat. Man, we hit that guy. We know we have a median floor. And how many GMs in the league have the ability to go, I'm going to let Bo Nix hit free agency, and if it burns me, I'm going to then be able to get a chance to fix it.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's the opposite, right? You find a guy, you think they're good enough to keep you in the hunt for 5 more years, you don't let that go. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think if C.J. Stroud plays well this year and the team does well, he's going to get paid. Like, I don't think it's a litmus test. If he plays well, yeah, he's probably going to get paid. We'll see if they let him go. We'll see if he plays well, yes, he's going to get paid. Why wouldn't he?
And that's exactly what I'm predicting. If he plays well and he's seen to be the top 18th best QB in the league, 16th best QB in the league, one of these teams eventually will say, no, we're just not going to pay you because 16th best is not good enough. Because you go from having a guy on a rookie deal to now you have the 5th biggest cap hitting QB in the league.
We'll see. Well, I'll just say the NFL is copycat because it was fun and cool to draft Trey Lance early. It was fun and cool to draft Anthony Richardson early with no starts, and then they stopped doing it. And they said, we're not going to do that anymore. So if Willis does not work out, this is all predicated on one outcome. And while I'm talking, Scott, you do need to fix. Now your mic and it's been doing it for the last 5 minutes. It's doing that staticky sound, and I don't want it to sound bad on YouTube. So you had hit something, and then it started to make that noise. But no. Go.
Better now?
We'll see when
I
you
didn't touch anything.
Yeah,
So
we could all hear it, but we'll see when you start talking. It didn't sound too bad when you started talking, but when you pressed something, it was very loud. We'll see. We'll see, because if Stroud plays well, he's going to get paid, and if he doesn't, then they'll go in a different direction. I think the bigger overarching point is there are going to be a lot of veteran free agents veteran quarterbacks that continue to get opportunity around the league. And it has been a pretty poor class the past 2 years. You got 2 quarterbacks last year. In the year prior to that, you got 4. You got 4 from 2024. And then the 23 class, when you even go back there, how many QBs do you get out of 23? Stroud and Bryce are the only ones left standing from 23. So, yeah, from a dynasty perspective, Scott, I'd ask you, how many of these... how much Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, Riley Leonard, how many of those guys are you trying to have right now just in case?
You know me.
Some people may not. So yeah, let them know.
Every backup quarterback in the NFL, I value. So I already have a lot of these guys, but it's also just...
What about like the Milrows of the world? What about like a Jalen Milrow, Shador?
If he's a backup QB, I want him. Yes.
Watson.
Yep.
What about that Joe Milton from Dallas?
Yep.
Oh God.
Because if he got in there for one game, it's worth what his price is.
I can't.
It's not about.
I know. I just can't with Milton, man. That's just personal. That's Dallas bias. It cannot with Milton, but I hear you.
the expectation is not they become anything. The expectation is if you needed to use them one time, it's worth the roster spot.
I'll play a tight end in this spot.
Well, I mean, that's fine. I mean, that's suboptimal. It's suboptimal, but
Joe Milton
to
is
each their own.
Joe Milton is suboptimal, but to each
their
that's
own.
right. Joe Milton is suboptimal.
And back to the last point too is I think the other litmus test. It's not just Malik Willis. It's all these QBs that are going to be cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, what if a team gets Geno Smith and he comes back and he's league average and they get him for $1 million?
I think Geno's a good bet. Geno's going to play.
Suit.
Geno's going to play this year. He's playing this
play.
year. He's going to play this year for sure.
He is going to play. All of those guys are going to get a chance to play. Is it a chance to start day one where it's their job and there's no barriers? Probably not. But Tua is going to play. Geno Smith's going to play. They're going to be on a team, and look how many QBs get chances. I mean, hell, you saw the report that the potential preferred starter for the Jets is Carson Wentz.
Yeah, Carson Wentz.
Now, is that a guy that did anything last year that makes you go, man, I really need to have him?
No,
but
sir.
Teams just keep going right back to him, Ray. Right back to him. He's started a game for now 6 different teams, if he starts a game for a team this year. And how many times has he been, man, I don't even know if that guy. I remember 2 years ago, I don't even know if that guy's going to get a backup job. And lo and behold, he's there. He's signed. He's a backup. He's starting for the Vikings. He's starting 6 games. Now, he was bad for the Vikings last year, but guess what? The Jets might bring him in.
Preferred option.
I mean, it's just
preferred option. It's
fascinating QB landscape right now.
And honestly, man, we're going a little deeper than just current NFL. I think it's a byproduct of college. I really do, and I'm thinking about it right now, and I'm just thinking about the potential players that are going to be in 2027. The college head coach's job is not to prepare these guys for the NFL. You know what I mean? That is not their job. Their job is to go win games for the University of Oklahoma. We got to go get it done here at Indiana, at Ohio State. And you look at some of those. Scott, you watch Ohio State football, right? You've watched and you remember some old names, right? Just from what you've seen. From what you've seen from Julian saying early on. Like, I remember Troy Smith, JT Barrett, Cardell Jones, and the way that people were talking about them, right? Operating the quarterback position, watching them play. And I see him and I'm like, man, is he any better than those guys? You know, is he any better than them? Probably not.
Further, Justin Zwick,
Craig Krenzel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That Jermaine may not have been that good, but he was good. He was good.
Terrell Pryor is another one.
Is he any better than those guys? And I'm like, I don't know. Probably not. Lenora Sellers, is he any better than Anthony Richardson coming out of Florida? Starts be damned. There's a chance we get here to 27, and you've got a few more. But it ain't 20 quarterbacks, right? It's not 15 of them coming in to replenish what's happening in the NFL. Field Yates put that graphic up at the start of the season. There was 6 quarterbacks inside the top 10. Man. 6 Sellers, Aller, Klubnik, Levitt, Arch Manning, and there was another one, and it wasn't Dante Moore or Fernando Mendoza. 6 of them inside the top 10. Nussmeier.
Okay, so I think part of the logic was not flawed, is that a lot of those guys did have the prerequisite expectations and reps under their belt. Because I think with what you're saying is true, that part of it is there's a lot of quarterbacks that are coming back in next year's class that have a lot of reps, right?
Oh, yeah.
Multiple years of starts. So at least is that the first box you have to check for you to really consider a guy to be a potential first-round prospect? Like,
the first
I've
box
heard your
is
opinion
the
on
first.
Ty Simpson.
The first box is
that's
be
an
good.
Outlier.
Be good at playing quarterback. Like, honestly.
But no one thought Garrett Nussmeier wasn't good. No one thought Cade Klubnik wasn't good. But they at least had the experience and the situation. They had all the opportunity in the world to fulfill what that expectation was, right?
Right.
But it's more to it than just have a lot of starts, have some physical ability, be in a good situation.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't mean that just translates to becoming a first-round pick.
Correct.
But that's part of why next year's class has so much appeal. We've talked about it how many countless times. It's not because there's 20 good quarterbacks next year, but there's 20 names in that conversation now. We only need 4 or 5 to thread the needle. Because I do think with everything we've talked about today, the NFL is in for a rebound year where they want an influx of some young QBs.
They want it.
It's time for that.
Absolutely.
It's time for a, damn, man, we started Kirk Cousins and it went poorly this year. Like, we need a young guy.
We brought Scott.
I know. I saw it in the chat.
If you or I would have suggested that on Destination Chill, hey, go pick up some Phil Rivers off waivers, we would have been laughed out of the fantasy space until week 14 or 15.
Go a step further, right? Even when he signed, I was the one going, I wouldn't pick him up. There's no way. Even when they even said, like, yeah, he's considering coming out of retirement. Oh, he's signing with the practice squad. Oh, he's starting 4 days later. Even then,
against on the road, no way they start him on the road versus the Seahawks. They threw him right out there, right? And you could give me all there was the kid. The man hadn't played football in 5 years, and when he stopped playing, he wasn't good then. Just if that doesn't let you know the state of the QB position in the NFL, where teams are hopeful 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers is back. How do we get Geno Smith? Joe Flacco's still getting burned. Like, the problem is, we had a golden era of football. Those of us that really got to sit through Brady and Manning, and, prior to that, there was a whole nother era, but there was a whole golden era of football where Phillip Rivers was awesome, but he wasn't good. He wasn't as good as everybody else in the AFC. NFC, Drew Brees. I mean, Romo, for Christ's sake. How good would he be in today's NFL? It's just, we're not living in that right now. And it's, you look at the past few quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl. Sam Darnold and Jalen Hurts. And by and large, the community thinks both of them are bum quarterbacks.
How do you scout that, Ray? How do you scout I don't even know what term to put it on because there's many things you could use to describe it. But how do you scout the guy that can come in and just knows what to do? Because that's why Phillip Rivers was signed, because they were so desperate. They needed somebody that could just go out there and know what to do. And they put him in, and you can see clearly he's an old man that can't move, that doesn't have a great arm, but he knew what to do. But how do you scout a quarterback that might not have Josh Allen's ability, but he just knows what to do? And it translates when he gets on the NFL field. The speed isn't too much. He doesn't get overwhelmed or confused. I mean, that's why maybe I'm a little higher on Mendoza than others, because all I hear is, he doesn't move well, or he's not super athletic. But I've also heard people just say every step of the way, he just outsmarted everybody eventually, quickly. I don't know. Like, how do you scout that, though? There isn't a test. There isn't a metric. But that feels like the barrier to not becoming the next, whoever it is that just doesn't make it because they get out there and the speed's too much. They can't process. They don't know what to do. You know what I mean? Like, how do you, that feels like that's the secret sauce. And I'm just asking your opinion, given that you have guys coming in now with 10 starts, 15 starts. They've started 20 games, but it was at 3 different programs. And who knows how good they were actually prepared for NFL defense. How do you scout that, though? Dude,
I don't think you can.
If you could, you'd be an NFL.
If I could, I wouldn't be here. And I think a lot of other people would have gotten it right. I think you just, when it happens, you see it and you know it. It just, when it happens, it's in the moment. And you think back. It's funny because I was watching some old college football games. Wasn't nothing on where we were, a hotel or whatever, and it was I think it was A&M, Oklahoma. Kyler was playing somebody. It was when Kyler transferred from A&M to Oklahoma his first year. I mean, dude, he was unstoppable. Unstoppable on the field. doing whatever, throwing the ball, running all over the place. It was ridiculous. And then you get to the NFL and he's been okay, but he hasn't been great. It hasn't looked like that. And then you see what Joe Burrow did his final year. Go look at what Burrow did his final season. That is, outside of the 0-1 Hurricanes, probably the best offensive team ever assembled in college football history, bar none. 2019 LSU squad. How do you scout for it? I don't know. I didn't think Burrow would be like that good in the NFL. Look how good he is. And the Mendoza thing, here's what I'll say. I do think that players fall through the cracks sometimes. I also know that a lot of people that you all rely on as experts in their field when it comes to the draft are full of shit. And they're not really scouting, and it's a lot of groupthink, and it's a lot of waiting for certain people to say something, and then I will piggyback, right? I know that because I'm in that space now, and I talk to a lot of people. So this idea that Mendoza's just smarter, why no one knew that prior to him coming from Cal to Indiana? No one talked about it. Field Yates didn't have him anywhere inside his top 10. Jordan Reed had him as like an honorable mention, outside guy looking in. So he just became smart. No one talks about when he went toe-to-toe with Caleb Williams and almost beat USC 49-50. And he was dynamic in that game, but we just now find. I don't know. We'll see. Am I higher on Mendoza? Not really. He's still going to the Raiders. He's still inside the AFC West. We'll see. That Indiana team was good on all fronts. Offense, defense, the team was good. And I'm just calling it how I see it, and I said it after it was over. Like, he was fine in the Natty. He won the game, but if you sit here and tell me he was surgical, lights out, that's bullshit, because he wasn't. He was actually pretty pedestrian through a lot of that game. I'm not saying he's going to fail or succeed, because it's a whole different thing. He's going to have Clint Kubiak and great players, but spare me that I know he's going to be this, because a lot of that stuff is entertainment, and be entertained. And whenever it happens, I'll buy in when it happens. Outside of him turning into Patrick Mahomes, his value won't go up to a point where he's unobtainable. So if he's good and he makes it happen, I can just go buy him. I'll draft him next year. I'll buy him in an auction. Draft him on DraftKings or whatever I'm playing.
Yeah, and I don't think it's as much that I think he has this immense upside. I think it's more of, and I've been fooled before. When you're talking about this, that, the name that comes to mind, that the last player that they said this same stuff about, it wasn't C.J. Stroud, it wasn't Cam Ward.
Bryce.
The last player that you heard this was Bryce Young.
Bryce.
He's unflappable. He's the smartest guy.
Smartest guy.
He knows everything. He knows where to put the ball all the time. Yet you look at the results and you're like, he's been like the 24th best quarterback in the league since he's come in, and he probably doesn't have a ceiling to get much better than that. There's been guys that have come after him, Bo Nix, that just have leapt past him. You know what I mean? That immediately didn't have that same analysis coming out of college, and you're like, who would you rather have, Bo Nix or Bryce Young? And it's not close, because one, Bo Nix passed the sniff test of he belongs on the field, right? He knows how to command an offense. But then you combine that with his physical abilities, and you're like, yeah, give me him over Bryce Young all day.
Yep.
So it is hard to say, this quarterback. I mean, Mac Jones was that before Bryce Young. You know what I mean?
He was.
And it still probably holds true. A lot of what Mac Jones, why he made it, despite getting screwed by the Patriots, is probably because he still has some of that stuff that, do we know if Sam Levitt has what Mac Jones had? He might. Brendan Sorsby, do we know if he has that? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know either. I mean, out of 21, we got one quarterback left from that class, 21? Because there were 5 taken inside the top 15. We got one left. The number one pick.
1.5, because I think Mac will get his chance at some point. But yeah, one left. Here's the thing. It's the one that everyone anointed was the one from the get-go.
Trevor Lawrence.
League average. Came on after last year, but I mean, his cumulative, he's been about league average since he came in the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just going through the last great quarterback rookie class had to have been, 2020 then? Because out of 2020, because you got Burrow, you got Love, you got Hurts, who won a Super Bowl.
You had Burrow and Herbert. Burrow and Herbert were the guys from day one, pretty much. Like, you didn't question it. Once they got in, you knew there was something there.
Yep.
What's cool about that class is you had Tua, who Tua was once the guy, and then I don't think Tua was ever the same after that hip injury that he had.
What talked about it in voice chat. Yep.
He still went high in the draft. He still was a good starter that got to his second contract, and he is where he is now. But what's cool about that class is you had Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love take unusual paths to where they got, and look where they stand today.
Yep.
Both probably top 15 QBs in the league.
Absolutely.
So that class is, you'll never get another class. If 27 could become that class, you would be doing backflips. Even if they didn't all hit at one time.
You don't think 24's got a shot though, right? 24's got a good shot. 24's got a good shot, don't you think?
I think so.
Yeah, 24's got a good shot.
They're already there. They already have 4 guys that are getting second contracts. The only one that you'd even Jaden's the one you just got to see him be healthy. But those 4 are on track.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm excited too, Scott, for free agency. That's a long-winded intro saying I'm excited too, and the quarterback position is a big part of the reason why we're excited. Did you see anything in the chat that you want to hit on? These are for y'all. So type in the chat. And again, if you're in here for the first time, appreciate you being here. Get involved in the community. Good people in here. I see Fry, Cam in here. Josh, what up?
We haven't talked about this, right? If Trinidad Chambliss can't play college football, did he fumble it a little bit?
Hell yeah.
Because do you agree it's too late for him to be anything in this draft class?
Yeah, I heard y'all.
Besides just somebody would take a shot on him. That's pretty much the highest expectation.
I don't know what he would do. Would he go to the draft? Would he sit out? I don't know what he would do. What would he do?
I mean,
I don't think he would get picked.
You'd think he'd have to try to get to the league, because how does a guy like that benefit not playing, but then trying to come in and compete with next year's class? Does he? Can he?
I'm asking. I'm just thinking through everything. Like, is there? I don't know. It's not the NBA, so there's no LaMelo route. There's none of that. But he's not getting
a supplemental draft.
He's not getting picked.
Which has been canceled like the last 3 or 4 years but it's possible.
He wouldn't get picked until, I don't think he'd get picked around like 6, dude. Around 6 or 7. And at that point,
right.
would he be advised to
you could
train for a year?
Interview him. Work him out. Nothing. Like, you have no info on him other than just a year
If I'm Chambliss, I don't think I would want that. I don't know if I would want an employer just to draft my rights, and then I've got no. I don't know. I don't know what would happen. But yes, to answer your question, I think this would have been a massive cluster for him, his team. Massive cluster.
When it feels like the NCAA is trying to make an example out of him, you know what I mean, and use this as we're putting our foot down and we're stopping this loophole, and it's just coming at a tough time. He's missed. I mean, he could have gone to the Senior Bowl, been the best player there.
Yep.
Could have gone to the Combine. He could be interviewing with teams right now. He could be in the same place as Garrett Nussmeier or Ty Simpson, where you're like, man, he could go day 2. Might be able to sneak into the first round. I mean, I don't know.
And you know what happens even if he gets cleared? If he gets cleared and gets the return, you know what happens? The spotlight is as bright as it will ever be on him. And he better go perform, because if he even stumbles, there are just way too many options next year to even be worried about an undersized quarterback. Just way too many other options. I'll go look at the 6'4" kid, the 6'3" dude. You're and quite frankly, I think Ole Miss is going to be very underwhelming this year overall, period. Not impressed with the head coach. Talent is gone. He can do what CC said. He can absolutely hold his own pro day, which he would. He would have to. He wouldn't just go naked in the draft. He would have to hold a pro day. But man,
you remember when Sean Tucker did this?
Yeah.
When they wouldn't let him go to the Combine because they had the medical issues, and then he held his own.
There's about 5 people there.
He held his own private workout, and it was like everybody was waiting for it because he was the victim that wasn't allowed to participate.
It was at
it
was at a junior high school. There was about 5 teams there.
Kudos though. He made it, got drafted. What was he? Was he a 7th rounder, I believe?
Was Tucker a 7th?
Or maybe he was a UDFA.
I thought he was undrafted. I thought he was undrafted.
I think he might have been a UDFA. But then he got to a point where, he survived. He's gonna get a second deal somewhere. So, but that feels like the route that somebody like Chambliss would have to go. You know what I mean? Like he'd have to really earn it. And the thing about QBs is like it isn't like a running back. He may never even get a chance to earn it. Like, man, you're the 4th QB in camp.
Yeah. You're a practice squad.
You don't even get a real shot.
You are Lamar Jackson in practice. Yeah, they still have Lacey at Ole Miss, but they also lost one of the best damn defenders in the SEC too. He's gone. That team is Lacey will be good, but I don't think Ole Miss is going to be good overall at all.
LSU is going to get the last laugh there.
Yes,
peak was Ole Miss getting to the the Final Four.
Final Four.
that was the peak.
That was the peak.
Team last year.
That was the peak.
They'll probably never be that good again because historically they are a bottom of the barrel, not just in terms of like they're a bottom of the barrel financial SEC program. Like if you ever see like the endowment and the money in those programs, like they're always like 15th. They probably don't have what it takes to keep up in this era. Not to be back in the, in the college football playoff every year. They'll still be decent, but got some good questions. Some
what we got?
Players have come up in the chat. Let me throw some of these out.
Brian
Thomas. Believe on the smoke that Brian Thomas is getting moved?
Yes.
Interesting. Where you want him to go?
You know what, Scott? I don't know. I haven't thought about it that much because I don't know what he is. I feel like he's somewhere in between. I think he can absolutely be a 1. We saw him do it already. I've seen him do that. Then he was 3, 4, non-existent. What team is bringing him in? And what role is he going to occupy? That's how I'll feel. I'm just going to throw stuff out there. He goes to the Rams. The Rams bring him in tomorrow. Good for Brian Thomas. Good for the Rams. The fantasy expectation from me is not what it probably is for 90% of y'all.
That
right?
Would be the. I'm just telling you, that would be the ultimate ADV spot.
Right
there.
And we're talking. Insane. I'm not talking ADV right now. People would go insane, and he'd be the 3rd option in Los Angeles.
Yep.
And people would like that a hell of a lot more than if. And I'm going to throw this one out. You know where I'd feel real good with him going? Tennessee. Tennessee brings him in. You know what I think? He's the 1. They make a move for Brian Thomas Jr., and they don't sign another significant free agent. They don't spend big capital on somebody, and they roll in with BTJ. They spend at other positions. DK and A.L. Manor, I'll love it because the opportunity is going to be there. I'd be just fine with it. I don't want him in Tampa Bay. I don't want him competing with that.
Gladstone's interesting because I do feel like him and Cohen would be. I mean, I like those guys. There's an edge to those guys too. You know what I mean? Like, because typically we'd say, listen, they're not trading. Brian Thomas is in his 3rd year. He's on a rookie deal. They have him controlled for 3 more years. They're not giving him away. Okay? I'd also say they're not trading him in the division. I'd also go a step further that they're probably not trading him to New England, the team that just won the damn conference last year. I think an NFC move would be a lot more feasible just because it's out of sight, out of mind. You know what I mean? He wasn't a fit. But you never know, man.
What if
San Francisco? That's the one.
Oh, that'd be a great spot. Absolutely awesome spot.
That would be the cream of the crop spot, I think. The ADV and the expectation of he is the 1 on San Fran.
Well, I like when ADV and expectation align. That is perfect. That is good. ADV and expectation in Los Angeles, they do not align in either LA spot. I wouldn't like either one. I would like a team like the Raiders. What if they say, we'll give you our 2nd round pick for him? They draft Fernando Mendoza, trade that second, and they bring in Brian Thomas. Now you're talking about an offense with Mendoza, BTJ, Genty, and Brock Bowers. Where are the air horns? I can get behind that.
You like Brian Thomas or Denzel Boston?
Brian Thomas, please.
Because Denzel Boston's probably one of the guys in the mix for the Raiders to draft in the early second.
I would 1,000% take Brian Thomas Jr. and you still get a year of his cost-controlled contract. Yes.
Yep.
And if I were the Jags, if they're going to give me a second-round pick, I'd take it.
Yeah, because if the Jags are trading him, he just doesn't fit with what we're doing. Financially, he fits. Role scheme, he fits. But there's something to be said, right? The whole Jags team, what did they do last year? They took like 3 steps up. And who's the one guy that went backwards? That's probably not a coincidence. You know what I mean? There's got to be a chemistry thing or a fit thing somewhere that is not Trevor Lawrence or Liam Cohen's fault. It just doesn't fit.
Yep.
And I think a team that believes that, they may not put it out there, but they're probably behind the scenes going, man, if we can get the 35th pick or whatever the Raiders have for him, we'll consider it.
Hey, Jay Dynamite, you're wild, man. This is on YouTube. This is a family-friendly show, and you got this. So people type in the chat to get this mushroom top up out of here, man. Oh, wildin'.
It's just some wildlife growing, Ray. Okay? It's fine.
That's what they call it on wildlife. I would love so right here it says the Ravens, Panthers, Pats, Browns, and Steelers. Steelers right now, no thank you. Any interest in
Panthers? Hell no.
Panthers, no thank you. Ravens, sure. With Lamar, yes. Pats, yes. Browns. Man, let me say.
The only one I'd be interested in there would be the Pats. Ravens, no thanks. For NFL, fine. Ravens, no thanks.
There are a lot of Browns players coming out. Did you see Judkins kind of sandbags Stefanski a little bit? How much different Monken was from him? There's a lot of stuff coming out that he just was dogging it. You
saw the NFL coach ratings, right? Kevin Stefanski, last in the league. It's funny. That's a guy that got hired within 5 minutes of hitting the market, yet there hasn't been a good thing said about the people that were there when he was there on the Browns.
My question is, and the Browns did have one of the highest rate of offensive line combinations in the league. I mean, they only had one guy under contract not long ago. Is there a chance they're a little better than what we saw last year with Watson or Sanders? Everything coming out from I haven't heard one positive thing. Everything is what they had to do in spite of the coaching. That's what I'm not saying it. That's what they're saying. The players. I'm impressed with how well we did with what we had. Coaching, I know people don't. This shit matters. It matters so much. It matters so much to have somebody put you in the right position to make plays. And it's not that the coach teaches you how to throw the ball. Coach doesn't teach you how to catch the football or make a tackle. But schematically, when you've got a good coach, offensively or defensively, that can stress the other side in ways that attack their weaknesses and highlight your strengths, right? That's what coaching is about. Anybody can draw up a play and say, go run it. But you know what? I've done this. I've set you up, right? There's a rhythm. There's a cadence. I've set you up with all of this pressure this way. Now I'm going to make you think it's coming from this side, and we're going to bring a corner. We're going to drop the safety down. We're going to drop the defensive tackle into coverage. Like if you're not in it, how do you do that? How do you count? How many times were you just watching the Browns and you just call out what's going to happen? Run, screen, prayer, throw. Run, throw. I mean, it's easy to, all I'm going to say is every single solitary year, we think we know who's going to be dog shit and who's going to be good. A Houston Texans arises from the ashes. Nobody thought Cincinnati would go to the doggone Super Bowl year 2 after picking number 1 overall, number 5 in the draft. Right? You look at this season, Seattle. Last year, how many of y'all watched the Wake Up episode where me and Jay Rich went through the Vikings start last season with Sam Darnold and just L. They're going to lose 15 straight games with Sam Darnold. I'm not saying it's going to be Cleveland. I'm not saying it's going to be the Browns. I'm not saying it's Carolina, Houston, Indianapolis, Seattle. It just, NFL is great parity. And if you get the right person in place, who would have thought the damn Jaguars were going to be where they were? They just picked number 2 overall.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Browns fan at all, but just speaking to them, the one thing you got to give them credit is they keep trying new stuff. Right now, you can argue how viable that is, but they keep trying new stuff. You know, they still are not moving off the Watson contract. You saw they restructured it again today.
I did.
To basically push it out further, but they constantly operate in a way of doing things that is they're trying to they don't believe in the let's just tank for a year and purposely suck. Like, that's just not how they operate. Like, they are at the forefront of how they're operating. I think a lot of teams probably wish deep down that they operated like the Browns. Now, I'm not saying they wish they have done what the Browns have done. Like, clearly this shows when you get the quarterback wrong to the degree that they did and they haven't fixed it, that's going to hold you back. But a lot of the other things they do pretty well. They draft pretty well. They're aggressive in spending and restructuring better than a lot of teams that are a lot more conservative.
What's their projected win? What's their projected win total? Because
it's got to be in the toilet.
If the offense was just competent when they have a healthy defense, it's hard for me to believe that they're going to be that bad again. But we'll see. What's that?
You know what's funny? Know how the cyclical part of the NFL happens, right? Is watch the Browns somehow will manage like a league average offense. And you'd be like, damn, that defense is letting them down. And it has the last 3 years. Like, that's their luck, right?
6.5.
Their offense, 6.5. Okay.
Oh man,
so I was going to say 4.5 or 5.5.
It's moderately aggressive. Anyway. Yeah. Pierce
DJ Moore.
Okay, real quick. Pierce or BTJ? It just dropped in the chat. Pierce or BTJ?
If you told me to project, I would say Pierce over BTJ next year. But asset-wise, give me BTJ.
Okay.
All the stuff we've talked about,
okay.
If he were to go to the Niners or any of the, it's just...
Scott, if he goes anywhere, he's free.
If he gets traded, that appears that there's opportunity. Anywhere where it appears there's opportunity, people will go nuts for BTJ. They just will.
All right, you said DJ Moore.
Yeah, there was a couple DJ Moore comments, thoughts on him. We talked about it in voice.
I like
chat,
him.
But it's
I like him.
I like it too.
I like
it's he is probably what he's expected to be. Like, the analysis shouldn't be, he's not an elite receiver anymore, and it shouldn't be he's cooked. He's probably, I think he's wide receiver 30. Maybe he's a little better. But that feels like what they're trying to get him to do, right? Go ahead.
I was gonna see his Trinity, but I know if I press something on here, it's gonna mess up the recording.
I'll look it up. We looked at it on the morning drive today.
Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah,
we looked up his range of outcomes, and it's, I think,
in the 14-point range.
There's a higher elasticity between him and some of the other guys. So, like, his low end is 8.5 points, but his high end's 15.5. So maybe there's a little bit of a wider gap. There it is. Brandon posted it in the chat. High end 15.1, low end 8.7. There's a wide range there. Wide range.
You want to take a guess on his highest target output for the season last year with Ben Johnson? Like the sheer number of targets.
Number of targets.
Yeah, number of targets in the game.
8.
Guess his high receptions in a game.
If I'm close on the 8, it's probably like 5 or 6.
Well, 8 would have been his high. His season high in targets was 7. He did that 3 times. And the season high in receptions was 5. And he did that also 3 times. 5. There were some games he wasn't even used, man. There are some games. Remember that week he had a baller week, and then the very next week he had 1 for -4? And you're like, what? How does that
Yeah,
even
it's
happen?
definitely frustrating.
Right? He's still a good. He's a solid player. And here's what I think is going to happen. They're going to use the shit out of him for the next 2 years. I like him a lot. And I don't like him on some high-end level, but if I had him and nobody really wanted to give me anything for him, I'd be just fine rolling out DJ Moore as my third receiver, hoping and expectation that I'm getting, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 numbers pretty consistently. Like, I like it. I like this a lot. He's the best receiver that the Bills have.
Yep.
He's the best receiver the Bills have.
Is comparing him to an expectation that he's going to be very usable.
Usable. Yes.
That's it. You know what? It was a good move to get him out of Chicago, and it was a good move for the guys in Chicago to get him out of town.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win.
It's a
right?
win-win.
Like if all deals could be that, then things would just be a lot more kosher for all these assets, right? This trade was a win because you feel good about every piece that was affected by this, unless it's Keon Coleman or Khalil Shakir. And those guys were already in I guess if I have them, I'm just hoping that they have a role. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They were already in that range. So
it's
good for the Bears guys that are there. It's good for DJ Moore, where he's going. It doesn't affect somebody like Dalton Kincaid. So
Scott, right now, inbox offer hit your box, and somebody's coming for your DJ Moore, and they're going to give you the 112 this year.
I'll take DJ, especially if that's a spot that I know I need to fill. I'm fine doing that.
110.
Same answer.
Same for me. 1-9. I know it's one pick, but I know what you're doing in your head, so I'm gonna
say no. Same. It's the same answer, but I think that it starts to become okay. It's not about what I'm going to get at the 109.
I know
what else can I do with the 109.
I know what it is.
A guy on my bench. Is there someone on my bench that I'm relegating for DJ Moore that makes me go, yeah, you know what? I'll take the pick. I think I can figure out something better with the pick.
DJ Moore and a 27 third or Brian Thomas Jr.?
Ooh, yeah. I think I'll go BTJ.
Okay.
That's
okay. That helps. That helps.
The lottery ticket shot.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you feel about the Bears guys now? Like, how do you feel about Odunze? How do you feel about Burden? How do you feel about Loveland? How do you feel about Jade Walker?
So we talked about this on the morning drive this morning. We looked at these teams, some of these teams like Buffalo we talked about, but also like the Bears. I'll just start with Buffalo, but I'll get to the Bears. Like those teams didn't necessarily have a problem creating fantasy points. It's just you didn't necessarily get the concentration that you wanted. So it doesn't make me feel better about Luther Burden doesn't get better because DJ Moore is gone. It's just the concentration gets better. Like, I'm guessing the number of fantasy points the Bears offense is going to create in the passing game with Caleb, who does run, with a running game that's still probably going to be a primary focus of their offense, it's probably going to be similar to what it was last year, Ray.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were at like 50. Here, I'll check. I have it right in front of me right now. They were at, so last year, the Bears were at, actually, I got to pull it up on another screen. The Bears were a little bit ahead of Buffalo, but I don't anticipate that like the fantasy production per se for the Bears is going to be that much better than it was last year. It's just you hope it's more concentrated, right? Which doesn't make Luther Burden, he's going to be a wide receiver 1. In fact, they have three pretty good.
Go read them stat lines for the Bears last season. For Odunze, Loveland, and Burden.
It's a new year, Ray.
I know.
New year.
What did it look like last year, though?
So for the Bears, last year, Caleb, and this includes tight ends and running backs, so just passing production, about 50 points, PPR points for the passing weapons. But the problem with that is that's like league average, but the problem was you're working in Olamide Zaccheaus and Cole Kmet and 2 running backs and Burden and Moore and Loveland and Odunze. Like the concentration score is shit. So for the fantasy managers, it feels like, there's too many mouths to feed. It's not too many mouths to feed. It's the mouths you want to be fed. Have other people at the table that are taking bites off their plate. So that needs to get fixed. I don't think it's like DJ Moore I've seen some, wheels up for Luther Burden. Like, does Luther Burden get better because DJ Moore's gone? Or do you just hope his piece of the pie is a little bit more? That's all.
Yeah, you want the pie to be a little bit more. That's it. Because for the first 4 weeks of the season, when Odunze was dropping 20 points per game, everybody was just fine. The big beneficiary, I think, is going to be Loveland. If I were going to guess at somebody being like the focal point on a because here's the thing. Can we agree that Burden is going to have some dope weeks? Would you agree to that? There are going to be a few of them where he just dominates, right? He has his coming out party or whatever you want to call it. He'll have some of those. Odunze will have some of those. But the one weeks to week to week to week that I think will be the consistent option, the volume, the target, the opportunity, it's number 84. It's Colston Loveland. They've already used him like that. They already have used him like that with all of those other guys there. That's going to be the big beneficiary of that offense. I would have a lot of stock in Colston Loveland this year. A lot.
Well, and even if it's equal between the three, the relative nature of the tight end production at that level, especially as the premium gets higher, is just worth more. You know what I mean? We've seen offenses that look like this. I mean, we've seen, I don't think it's going to be any different in probably Arizona. They have 2 decent receivers, but they're neither are going to be the primary weapon. I mean, the Niners, when they had Debo and Kittle and Ayuk, it was like with a lot of weeks, it was Kittle. The other receivers are good. They had their weeks, but is it fair to say you probably don't have an outcome where there is an elite Bears receiver? Is that a fair bet? And I say elite meaning like one of these guys cracks the top 8, top 6.
Very slim chance.
Top 15?
Very slim.
Top 20? Sure.
Yeah,
Hell,
yeah.
They could have 2 guys in the top 24.
Yes.
But if you think it's Loveland, then that's probably how the offense looks.
I see College Football 27 may be coming to the PC. All right. Okay, we'll see. We'll see if that holds up. What else we got, Scott?
Until you figure out how Claude Code just pays how it just plays it for you.
Well, at that point, let's hope it can't do that. Let's hope it can't do that. We don't need any more codes and GM tools out there. We need to stop. They need to ban all of it right now.
I want to throw Ben Mason a bone here.
Throw Ben
Ben's
some.
been around for a long time.
Ben's been around for a
where
long
is
time.
Malik Willis signing? He wants to know. This is the crowning moment for Ben Mason. He's been talking about Malik Willis for 6 years.
He's been talking.
This is the moment.
He is the original Malik Willis truther, if there has ever been one. I want to say Arizona, Cam. That's my first thought was Arizona. My first thought is Arizona. I'm going to say the Cardinals. There is going to be familiarity there with the coach. They've already removed Kyler from the situation. I think it's going to be. And when you think about what LaFleur, like what he had and how that offense ran, I mean, they had a dope tight end in Tucker Kraft, and you got to see him really start to take off prior to the ACL tear. I mean, we'll see. And all the mocks right now still lean heavily in favor of them taking a tackle. So unless you're going to sell me that they're going to jump back up to get Ty Simpson or yada, 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 if they're still going to take a tackle at 3, as all the beat reporters and draft analysts are expecting, you got to protect your quarterback. I would say Willis. And then I'm also just thinking about if he lands on Arizona, what would that mean? What do they need in order to compete? They're in the most difficult division in football right now, the NFC West, and they're at the bottom of it. You're not going to win the NFC West with Mac Jones. I don't think that Ty Simpson is coming in and out-dueling Matthew Stafford, Kyle Shanahan, and Purdy. What Sam Darnold just accomplished this year, you better go get you somebody dynamic. You better take a swing if you want a chance. So I'm gonna say Arizona.
What I would say is the Malik Willis market's been adjusted for at least a month. Like, people know this is the time. You've waited. You still have him. You're just waiting for next week to see where he goes, right? But I'll just say, if he goes to Arizona, And that's your bet. If that's what you're hoping for, if you're sitting in here going, man, I got a lot of Willis, I really hope he goes to Arizona. Could probably make a move or two on Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison.
Like a move to trade him?
They don't want him. They're T-rash if he goes to Arizona. Just is. This prototype of quarterback, right, it's usually in the bottom third to fourth of the league in producing fantasy points for his weapons, and people don't want to hear that. But we talked about it on the Trinity show in the NFC West. What role is probably not going to get backed off from?
Tight end.
Trey McBride, right?
Tight end.
So do you really want to have one of those other two receivers? And they're both good in their own right. Like, it isn't like one is just going to bum the other out of the way. That's just it's probably not the offense you want to place your chips when it's designed exactly like the offense we were talking about with the Bears, but with 30% less probable fantasy points going to the peripheral weapons.
And if it played out that way, when I would want those guys at the end of the year when they haven't done shit all year and then people are ready for them to get rid of Malik Willis. Sure. All they need is a QB change. And people hang on to those receiver situations forever.
And I like Marv still. I like Michael Wilson. But all I'm saying is where those guys fit in, I think Marv is still a top 20 receiver. Michael Wilson's like top 35. Where they slot in, there's other bets on better situations that I'd rather take that have similar designs of their offense. And that's not a Malik Willis just isn't probably going to support three guys like that.
Let me throw one out there.
Go
ahead.
Go.
I was going to throw one out there that I saw earlier. How would you feel if the San Francisco 49ers gave Romeo Doubs $30 million guaranteed?
I think you're probably putting them in the Alec Pierce range then. You don't.
I saw that today. I would like
top 30 receiver.
I would like it. I would like it. I think that'd be a dope spot. Not a big name, not a sexy name. I think that'd be a nasty landing spot for him.
I've heard numerous people talking about how, these, and they're not fantasy people. They're asking who's one of the most underrated receivers or players in free agency, and it's always Romeo Doubs.
I think that'd be
We'll see.
They were talking about he's only 25 years old, yada, yada, yada. Like, if you type in Romeo Doubs 49ers on X, there's a lot of stuff out there about him right now. And yeah, it says the guaranteed amount would be around $30 million guaranteed.
Yeah, and a whole other thought, you ain't getting him for $14 million. That's a pipe dream right there.
I'm just reading what it says right here. So I would love that fit.
Get paid.
I would love that fit right here. Coach Yak, and this is one of your people. This is a San Francisco guy, Coach Yak. Don Graziano predicts free agent Romeo Doubs 3-year, $49 million contract, including $30 million guaranteed with the Niners.
I mean, that's actually not a bad deal considering what like Jacoby Myers got paid. Probably what like Wandale and Alec Pierce will get paid. Like that's not bad.
And it says this. It says he's one of those guys that can thrive in different schemes. And you could look up at the end of the year and be like, damn, he got that much. Doubs caught 55 for 724 and 6 last year. I would like it a lot. I think it'd be a dope fit for him. That'd be a great fit.
So last year, looking at so this is over a 3-year period. So this has been basically since both these guys have been starters. Points for the weapons in the offense between Brock Purdy and Jordan Love. Who do you think's higher?
Purdy.
It's actually pretty close.
Well, who's higher, though?
Actually pretty close. Purdy's a little bit higher. He's higher by 1.5 points. But again, you'd see Jordan Love and you go, oh, man, when you think Jordan Love, you don't think great for the weapons, right?
No, you don't.
But it's a concentration problem, right? Like Jordan Love's created just as many points for his weapons as a lot of other good QBs, but you don't think doesn't feel as good for fantasy because they've always had 4 or 5 guys.
Yep.
So we'll see. I think that'd be a great spot for Doubs.
All right, hour and 15 in. Wrap us up, Scott.
Man, there's so much that we didn't get to cover.
I know.
I'm going to jump in and do a mock a little bit later.
Okay.
Post-combine mock. We didn't get to talk a lot of post-combine stuff, but we did a mock on Mannequin Chill. a week ago, and I want to kind of hit another one in the community. So maybe I'll announce that prior to Dynasty Deal Show tonight. But glad everybody got to jump in. This is my favorite time of year. This week, and then the next week after this is just from somebody that likes like team building and the financial aspects of things and just how pieces fit together with different situations. Like this is one of the most fun weeks, to the point where I took the first 3 days off of next week just so I could be around and reacting to this stuff. I mean, Brandon and I are going to do a bunch of just live stages content, YouTube content. Like just every time there's something that breaks, we'll give our takes. Doesn't mean they're going to be right or wrong, but I'm excited for it. So if you're not already in the community and you want access to more, to be able to engage, be able to do roster rescue, to be able to voice chat, like consider signing up. That's why we're here. We're not slowing down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Appreciate y'all. This is, we'll be back next Friday. Thank you for your support. We appreciate you. New people, if you got to listen, we appreciate you being here as well. All right, Scott, you're going to end it, and I'll end it on the YouTube side. See y'all in the cord.
Done.
All right.